Give the audience a little backstory about like who you are, what you do,
Yeah.
and more importantly, why you do what you do.
Okay, so I'm a yoga teacher. I've been a yoga teacher for 4 years, and I've been teaching around the world.
So you've been running your business, and you said your parents gave you that platform to do that.
Yeah.
Like, who are your parents, and like why weren't they about for a lot more other people?
They are amazing. Makes me emotional to think about that question. So they were okay that I didn't go to university straight away because they saw that I still had this drive within me. I've been making money since 12 years old, so has my brother. So they know that we're going to be fine.
Fair. So let's touch base into yoga then.
Yeah.
Why should I be doing more of it?
I think you need to ask yourself the question, do you need different forms of self-regulation? Is it as simple as, I want to be able to touch my toes? Is it a flexibility thing? Or is it that you need more space in your mind?
Why is it your profession?
I've seen the limitation of yoga spaces. And I truly believe that the upcoming phase of yoga is going to be more focused around trauma-informed, trauma-sensitive spaces, which I don't think there has been a space for before. So, yeah, this podcast is called Unfiltered. Let me start getting unfiltered with you. I've never actually shared this part of my story. So, yeah, my teacher training, I was actually sexually assaulted.
Oh shit. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Unfiltered podcast, where we take the eye out of unfiltered and put the emphasis directly on you. This is the one platform where we get to take down our filters and have raw, authentic and vulnerable conversations in regards to the challenges that we're all facing today. Now, if you're a fan of the unfiltered nature of this podcast and you want more of these conversations that I have on the show to be normalized, why don't you help me help you to get more guests on and to have those difficult conversations in regards to the challenges we're all facing. I have to know what it is that you specifically want us to speak about. So if it isn't too much to ask, why don't you hit that subscribe button right now? And at the end of the episode, if it's been a hit for you, if it's hit home, why don't you leave a thumbs up and leave a cheeky review in regards to what specifically resonates with you. Now, with that all being said and done, let's get straight back into the episode. Kavi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm
sure?
good now. I'm here. Yeah.
Give the audience a little backstory about like who you are, what you do,
Yeah.
and more importantly, why you do what you do.
Okay, so I'm a yoga teacher. I've been a yoga teacher for 4 years, and I've been teaching around the world. So I started teaching in England in lockdown, and then in the Netherlands, and then in Istanbul and Mumbai recently. Now back to England for a bit. And yeah, I started my yoga journey because of my mum telling me to try it for Duke of Edinburgh, because we had to do a sports section and I was just awful. Like, I didn't have any coordination. So she said, why don't you try yoga? And I fell asleep in my first session and I was like, this is great. Like, I want to do this all the time. So that's kind of where my yoga journey began.
What yoga session did you start off with?
It was a teenage yoga class.
Yeah.
It was just super sweet and wholesome. Like, she always gave us gifts and like little colours, and it just felt like such a nice space to have at that age, like 14, 15, when school was the complete opposite. So, yeah.
Fair. Yeah, we weren't doing yoga at my time.
No.
Yeah, for a fact. So
but you've done some yoga before, right? I've seen.
Yeah, ish. Tried it during lockdown. Did a lot of yoga sessions in the morning with Yoga with Adrian.
Yeah, classic.
Little legend she is on YouTube. And then did some when I was in Ubud. Okay. So I went to Yoga Barn out there. That was quite fun.
Oh, yeah.
Did yin yoga.
Love.
Is that where you just like sound healing and stuff?
Yeah. Holding the poses for a long time.
Yeah. So I did. Yeah. Yin was basically you just flop.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just doing a lot of flopping. Yeah. I was terrible, but you just let gravity bring you down. And the other one was a sound healing one. And just, honestly, it must have been the best nap I've ever had. I felt so trippy on the way up. It was good. But yeah, why do you do yoga now then?
I do it now because it is the thing that I know. It's how I live in terms. It's not just a physical practice. It's how I show up to my life every day. Yeah. So in yoga, you have yamas and niyamas. So these are the disciplines and the way that we live our life. Mm-hmm. So for example, no harm, no violence. This is something that I apply to my life in terms of the way that I eat, how I treat other people, how I look after my own body. And yeah, it's become not a religion, but a way of life for me, which maybe some people do compare to religion. But for me, it's the only thing that really makes sense, because I can use my breath on my body wherever I am in the world, which is why I can also teach it wherever I am in the world.
So you're vegan/vegetarian?
I'm vegetarian, which is interesting because I've just been in India and people will be like, but you eat eggs? And I say, yeah. They're like, you're not a vegetarian then, you're an eggitarian. So there's all these different scales, which I found funny as well.
Fair. So I get the fact that you've been doing yoga for a while now. Mm-hmm. Why is it your profession?
It's my profession because I've seen the limitation of yoga spaces. And I truly believe that the upcoming phase of yoga is going to be more focused around trauma-informed, trauma-sensitive spaces, which I don't think there has been a space for before. So, yeah, this podcast is called Unfiltered. Let me start getting unfiltered with you. I've never actually shared this part of my story. So, yeah, my teacher training, I was actually sexually assaulted.
Oh, shit.
So this was like a very important thing for me to do, because I wanted to teach yoga in a space where nobody ever feels sexualized. No one, people don't enter their body in their space, physical body and subconscious, all the other kinds of body, without consent. And yeah, so I felt like there needed to be more softness in the space, and this is something that I really believe that I create from the people that tell me, but also how I feel. So I know that I'm making a difference in people's lives, and I know that there's a need for it. So yeah, just seeing how people feel, I'm sure you feel the same as a coach, like when people really benefit, you know it's something that you have to share with the world, and it's, for me, the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It does benefit. Like, sorry you've had to go through that as well.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's took a spin on things.
Yeah.
Nah, thank you for sharing. Was this like a mixed class, or you said during your training, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I was not the only one, but it got really bad, and it was from the teachers. So
Teachers?
Yeah.
Plural?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So, yeah, it really became a testament to my strength, how I showed up for myself, because I did not tell my support network, which was my family in COVID. So, yeah, you have to strengthen up in a way, but also soften, because you have to show up for yourself, because it's happened to your body and something mental as well. So this kind of, in a way, kick-started my whole prioritizing myself journey, because, these traumatic events, they do shape your life. And I'm not smiling because it's a happy thing, but it has, the way I've responded to it, I actually am proud of myself. So, yeah.
What have you done on the back end of that in terms of self-development, self-worthy work? And
Yeah. I did go to therapy.
Yeah.
That was really helpful. I was in a relationship, and I think that really helped me to get triggered again, which I'm saying all this with a really light tone, but I'm saying that it was really useful for me, because triggers I didn't know were there came out through being in this relationship, and I think it was really helpful for me to have like a man to help me, build my strength again as well. And aside from that, my yoga practice became really, really regular. Journaling helps so much. I really express myself through writing, breathing. I still face anxiety every day, but breathing, it's literally a free tool, and it helps me so much. Listening to podcasts, like your podcast, other people's. I met Jay Shetty the other day.
Oh, swear.
Yeah, I used to listen to him a lot.
Where did you find him lurking?
At the Hare Krishna Manor.
Oh, right, yeah. What, this weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I was like, hey, Jay.
Oh, that's a small world.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I think just choosing in general in my life to be kind to myself, because your body is a temple, and I started to really understand the meaning of it when something enters your space without your consent.
Yeah.
So this is also how I teach. I'm super big on consent. Like, I barely touch people in my classes. I understand the value of touch, but I think that people really need to be comfortable, and they might change from the beginning of the class to the end of the class. They're like, I don't want you to enter my space anymore. So yeah, my cueing is really important. I think that's a good sign of a teacher that can do that.
You've tuned into that big time.
Yeah. So
No.
yeah.
Yeah, that's just still fucked though.
It is. But I think, when I came out about it, because I did in my yoga school, a lot of people also said me too.
Yeah.
And this started a whole, journey of people healing together and empowering one another. And the more I shared it, people came back to me from past training and said, hey, that same person did that to me as well.
Yeah.
So it sucks. It's horrible. And yeah, there's no excuse for it. But I think what we can do is talk about it, because I'm sure that I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Probably people listening have gone through something like that. So, and yeah.
If not yoga, like even in other forms of, like, say,
Exactly.
physical assistance, PTing.
Yeah, exactly.
I suppose I think the word you've said, consent, it's a big, big word, because it's like, I suppose if you're a PT and it's your job to help someone specifically in a way, it's there in regards to, like, I'm going to help you with either like squats or some sort of leg extensions or whatever it is that you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And this is what I need you to be feeling it here and that kind of stuff. But the idea of it, because this is my job, this is how I train people.
Yeah.
You're right. You could just lose that if someone feels very uncomfortable, and it's so important you probably address that.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Obviously, it's shitty you've gone through it, but
Yeah.
probably don't think about it as much as we possibly should. So
No. I think it's, especially like the wellness industry is just booming so much. I think the number one thing we can approach it with is respect for each other. So that comes in many forms, but yeah.
Fair. You had a few things you wanted to talk about. One was living abroad, running your business, doing things you really want to do.
Yeah.
Tell me how you've managed to navigate your way to doing you, because you've not done the standard Asian thing to do.
No, not at all.
Been very different.
Yeah. God bless my parents, because they obviously supported my journey of wanting to do things differently. So I changed high school. I went to a different sixth form because I just wanted a whole new environment to challenge myself. So I went to somewhere where I didn't know anyone, and there I met some people who were taking gap years, and that thought had not really come to my mind before. And I had wrote in my journal like my life plan until the age of 60, which was apparently when I was going to die. I literally wrote that. But one of the things said I want to learn Spanish. I want to go to live in Spain and learn Spanish. And at one point I was like, why do I want to wait till I'm retired to do that? I can do that now. So I started searching for different opportunities for me to be living in Spain. And so I went to move to Spain, and I lived in a Spanish family as an au pair, looking after the children, teaching them English, and they taught me Spanish. So that kind of
You did this what, at 18?
Yeah, 18.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. The first day, like, I was wiping the child's bum, and I was like, what have I signed up for? I just turned 18, graduated. Yeah. But it was great, and it opened up a lot of doors for me. And then I kept traveling, I backpacked, I worked a lot, and then I went to do my training in India.
So when did you go uni?
So I went in 2020.
You went uni for 3 years?
Yes.
Where was that?
In the Netherlands.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So from like...
So I did 2 gap years.
Yeah.
And then after that, I moved to the Netherlands, which was crazy because I'd never seen my house.
Yeah.
And I went there by myself because of lockdown. Like, couldn't bring anyone.
Yeah.
And I just turned up in this tiny flat and started a life in lockdown.
It's a bit funny.
Yeah.
And then, did you have to learn like Dutch there as well? Or?
I didn't, well, do you know what I did?
Yeah.
Because I had a boyfriend at the time, and his family told me, like, in this house, we only speak Dutch.
Okay.
So either that or you can speak French or Arabic. So I learned some Dutch.
Yeah.
They got me Dutch for Dummies for Christmas.
There we go.
And yeah, I just really picked it up. I was in a lot of situations where, like, a lot of my best friends are Dutch, so I always hear it. So that I picked up involuntarily. And then I did an exchange semester in Istanbul, which is why I lived there. And in both places I was teaching yoga as well. So
you've been teaching since very early.
Yeah.
And getting paid very early.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a bit of a hustler from day.
Sure, Gujarati mindset.
There you go. And then went to India after you've done your 3 years at uni. Before you went to India before on a gap year.
Yeah.
Then went to Netherlands.
Yeah.
Istanbul.
Yes.
And then now just being a full-time yoga.
Teacher, yeah.
Fine.
So yeah.
What's the difference between being a teacher and an instructor?
It's the same thing.
Okay, cool. Didn't want to just say something there.
No, you did.
Fair. So you've been running your business, and you said your parents gave you that platform to do that.
Yeah.
Like, who are your parents, and like, why weren't they about for a lot more other people? Because allowing you to do what you've done at a young age,
Yeah.
like, very nice, you know.
They are amazing. Makes me emotional to think about that question. So my mum dedicated her life to raising me and my brother. She poured in so much love to us, and her ethos was, in case it ever happens that you guys die before me, like my mum, I don't want to ever think they didn't get to live enough.
Yeah.
So she gave us every opportunity possible, whatever we wanted to do. She made it happen.
Yeah.
And my dad spent his life working so hard. He came from Uganda with no money into this country. And you know what that's like. Like, it's hard to start from scratch. They faced so much racism growing up at that time. But yeah, he failed all his GCSEs and he just spun his life around. He was like, I'm not going to fail. And he worked super, super hard. So both of my parents have been providers in different ways. And they were okay that I didn't go to university straight away because they saw that I still had this drive within me. I've been making money since 12 years old, so has my brother. So they know that we're going to be fine. And yeah, so that's how they've supported me in another way.
What did you study at uni?
I studied cultural anthropology. So it's a study of humans, not in a psychological, like this brain sense, but more about how we interact. It's really hard to explain, but in different cultures, we have different traditions, different norms, different things that are acceptable, for example, in the Asian culture. So a lot of it is writing and research, which was an interesting thing to study, yeah.
Fair. And then yoga and what you're doing right now has no somewhat relation?
Somewhat relation, because, yoga in some way has been westernized.
Yeah.
A lot of the classes here and in the Netherlands, I noticed I've had studios tell me, we don't do here, we don't do pranayama, the breath work, which is what yoga is. It's not just the physical practice. So for me, I've recently realized that anthropology does have a link, because one part of anthropology is not culturally appropriating things. And that is what's happening to yoga right now. So for me, it's really important to, one, keep yoga a safe space where people are not being sexualized. And number two, just as important, is that it stays in its essence, which is from India. So yeah, it's really important to me that it stays like that.
And do you only teach women then, or do you teach mixed?
Everyone.
Okay,
Whoever
sweet.
wants to learn.
Sweet, fair. Fair. Yeah, so talk to me about how you've decided to just like run your business and just pick things up, because I feel like from an entrepreneurial standpoint, I've heard friends of mine say to me they'd like to try and dabble in X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But once you've got a flavour of what the corporate life's like, it's very difficult to then try and start afresh and do something knowing that you haven't got that stable income. And like, you've been working from a young age, so you've been hustling.
Yeah.
But respectfully, like, you're 23?
24, yeah.
24, okay. A little youngin' out here. And you've been grinding and hustling, and you're going back to India again to do what, more teaching out there?
Yeah, exactly.
How have you managed to build this?
So I think because I did not go into the corporate life, and really luckily at the age of 19 I found what I wanted to do, I've only focused on that. Like, I kind of saw uni, yes, of course, I was paying and studying very hard, but it was yoga first. Uni was my side thing. So that kind of shaped my life a lot. And then recently, I've started to realize, yes, yoga is something super, super deep, spiritual and sacred, but this is seriously the way I want to exist in the world, how I want to make money. So I need to take it seriously as well. So I've really been starting to take it seriously as a business. That means, every day I'm working on it in different ways. I'm about to start with a coach as well for my business.
We'll get some business coaching in.
Yeah.
Nice.
And when I went to Mumbai, it was not an expected decision. I didn't plan on that. I was meant to come home on the 1st of March, but I flew to Mumbai instead and stayed there for 3 months. And I met people there, and their mentality is like crazy. Like, you think London, but you think even more. They're like, let's go, like collaborate, hustle. I love that. So 2 days in, I was already hosting a yoga class there. I didn't know anyone in the city. But I think just go for it. Like, stop waiting for someone to tell you to do things. Like, you are your biggest limiting belief. And of course it helps. I do have a great support network, but I'm my biggest motivator, and I just do it. So,
but like, the easiest thing is telling someone just go for it.
Yeah.
Respectfully, if you haven't got a plan,
right.
what do you do? Like, you've obviously started by running a few classes. Fine. Not sure what you were getting paid before to what you possibly charge right now. And that's obviously part of the process. But to build something, everyone wants that perfect website. They want that perfect, in your case, probably studio or platform.
Yeah.
With me, when I first started podcasting, it was over Zoom, and then now it was audio, but based in not this studio, but one closer to home, and then I found this one, and then I might try and take it to another studio, etc. Like,
Cool.
It's part of the process. How have you navigated your way through it? Because again, I can think of friends off the top of my head right now who'd love to start something of their own.
Yeah.
They've got ideas, but literally are questioning everything else versus actually doing something and then seeing results.
Yeah. I think ask yourself first, what is your why? Why do you want to do this thing? Is it just because you want to make money? Because I don't think that's a big enough driving factor. But is it something that you really want to add to the world? And then once you're clear on your why, start to think practically. Start to utilize your support networks if you have them. And if not, see how you can get free advice from people on the internet, like podcasts, or, have a call with a coach. Start to, really, we're so lucky to have the internet to learn. So really, like, take yourself seriously and make a plan, and maybe make time frames. So instead of thinking about what's my New Year's resolution, what do I want to be in 5 years, think in quarters. What do you want to happen in 3 to 4 months, instead of thinking of really intangible things.
Yeah, fair. I think it's that safety element where, again, if you're comfortable with a certain lifestyle, possibly taking that risk to try something completely different.
Yeah.
Like, I know, for example, if a friend says to me, look, Priya, I really want to start a business doing scaffolding as an example, or get into some sort of like interior designing, there might not be no why in regards to the actual job itself. Yeah. The why is flexibility. The why is having free time to spend with my family. The why is getting into my creative space.
Yeah.
But because it's so not concrete with what you've said right now, it might put them off from actually doing it because they possibly feel like an imposter or something.
Yeah, and I get that. And sometimes not all of us are meant to be entrepreneurs on our own. So if that's the case, someone can think about who can I collaborate with to make this thing happen. We don't have to do everything on our own in this world.
True. It is very, very true. It's very true. No, but go you for knocking it out of the park. What is your plan then for the next 5 years?
5 years. Okay, I cannot answer that question, but I'll try.
All right, what's your plan for the next year then?
Next year is soon head back to Mumbai, where I'll be teaching. I'm going to be making here, like England, London, Hertfordshire, my base, and Mumbai my base, because I have clients in both spaces. And yeah, I want to keep traveling, keep offering my workshops to different places, keep spreading kindness and yoga. And yeah, I really want to build up a strong clientele, especially private clients who are serious about yoga, like who really want to change their lives and add yoga to it. So that's my main focus of what I want to add.
Fair. So let's touch base into yoga then.
Yeah.
Why should I be doing more of it?
I think you need to ask yourself the question, why is it that you, ask that. Do you need different forms of self-regulation? Do you feel it in your body that you need yoga? Is it as simple as, I want to be able to touch my toes, as a flexibility thing? Or is it that you need more space in your mind? Maybe you don't have the space to listen to your body and your mind.
No.
I think everyone has a different reason. For me, it's really the space to slow down. So that's what I could say. Like, take time to slow down in this life. And whether that's the physical yoga practice or maybe the self-study, that's also a form of yoga. Meditation is also a form of yoga. Breathing. All these things to slow down.
See, because I've had a few yoga instructors / teachers on the podcast.
Yeah, so...
and educated me enough around like what I possibly could be doing, which is already yoga. So sweet, cool, definitely a yogi in some shape or form. But I feel like there still is that misconception of what is yoga and the true benefits behind it.
Yeah.
I started recently doing a lot more flexibility and mobility works in my hip flexors and legs because I love golf and I don't want to be in a position where in 20, 30 years time I can't swing through as I would right now, purely based on the fact that I haven't looked after my body.
Yeah.
So I'm putting in the work now, and it's something I probably should have been doing for the last 10, 15 years if I think about it. But again,
you started now.
This is true. I've started now, but like I also feel like there's the misconception that yoga is just a bunch of stretches, and that's really it. And I'm not trying to just say it as to downplay it, because I know I've had Rima tell me off for what yoga really is, and it's like the breath work and the meditation, and like there's so many different forms of yoga. So don't just be a clown pre. Don't just look at what you see on YouTube and Instagram and see that for what it is. Like dig a bit deeper. And it's something I feel like content, as an example, if it's delivered in a way where there are so many different forms of the benefits that come from it, it may force people to do it. Like, I know when I train at the gym, as an example, I see people stretch, but it might be a 5-minute thing and that's it.
Yeah.
Where's the mindset flip that do this more often and I guarantee you're going to lift a lot more heavier?
Yeah.
Do this more often and I guarantee you're going to feel a lot more fresher throughout your whole routine. Do this first thing in the morning and by evening you're going to feel in a better headspace.
Yeah.
But you tell me, like, do you feel like there's a misconception in what yoga is?
Yeah, I think so, because it's often seen as something just for women, just for old people, just a really easy stretch and just stretching. No, it's not that. It's something entirely different, and I think people find it really hard sometimes.
It's fucked up. It's some of the stretches ruin me. I'm thinking, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't do, what's the one where you fold your leg and the other leg goes back? It's like pigeon pose. Yeah. Can't do it.
Yeah.
It's like, it looks terrible and can't bend over. And I was seeing people doing it in Ubud, in Yoga Barn. I was like, yeah, this isn't looking good for me because my legs can't do that. And I'm tall and they're just flapping around and flailing everywhere.
Yeah.
And I also feel like because it's quite painful, it might put people off from actually doing it.
Yeah. And I get that. I think you have to be in a certain headspace to receive the benefits from yoga.
Yeah.
But not that you have to be in a headspace, but it's where you're at. So, for example, some people, they may only be ready to receive the stretching part. There are other people who are going to be listening to the philosophy that's being said by the teacher, and that's going to hit somewhere into their subconscious. Other people are going to notice the benefits of breathing and how they release so much stress. If you breathe in your pigeon pose, directly like focusing your mind into that pigeon pose, you can release so much emotion. I've had people cry in my classes, throw up, like they're just releasing so much pent up, stuck emotions in the body. So that's why these kind of hip openers feel really hard, by the way. But I think, Sankalpa, that's your intention. What is your intention? Is it just to get the stretch in? Or is it that you personally want to feel a deeper spiritual connection to earth, to being here, to be grateful every day? What is your story?
How do you then break it down to a bit how you got gifted Dutch for Dummies? How do you break down, because I think that would probably be a lot useful, not yoga for dummies, but understanding what, let's say, if we use a gym as an example, what 80% of the users in the gym aren't realizing or really honing into the benefits of what some of these possible stretches or what some of this possible giving yourself some time to just do breath work before you train or while you train, how beneficial that could truly be. And like, I feel like, because that's not there, in my opinion, I don't see it there as often. And if it is there, then it clearly doesn't come up on my For You page. But if that was there, it would force people, because I know when I've had an injury, I'll just search like mobility exercises, etc. And I've seen a lot. I see a lot of guys doing it as well. And it's like, oh shit, if I just do this, fuck, it hurts. But if it's going to help me, I'm going to carry on. But let's say if you're telling me right now yoga's from more of a woman's space, and that's
misconception.
We're going to say that, misconception. But if it is in that space, if there was more education around it and dumbing it down for a lot more of the other population that should be taking the rewards that come from yoga, wouldn't that be a useful thing to start implementing?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, let's say everyone who gets to the gym, when they get there or before they enter the gym, they take 5 deep breaths or just 5 minutes to sit there before they go into sometimes an intimidating space, which I think even I've done a survey on it on my Instagram. A lot of men answered that they find it intimidating to be in the gym. So say we'd all done some breathing before, we're coming in, leaving the stress, we're just coming into a calm space. It would just make us so much more focused on our workout and also kinder to each other, because I just noticed this thing. After you've had like a group class, everyone is smiling at each other. Like, people just become so much kinder. So if that was incorporated into spaces like the gym, but also corporate spaces, I think people would really treat each other a lot nicer. Maybe that's not a big enough drive, but your breath is so important. Running, it can help so much if you know how to nostril breathe instead of just breathing through the mouth. Yoga teaches that we should only be breathing through the nose most of the time, aside from certain techniques. So my parents sleep with tape on their mouths sometimes because they snore. And this forces them to breathe in and out through their nose.
It's still scary though.
It is. I wouldn't do it yet.
In my headspace, if I've got a hay fever or something, I feel like my nose is getting blocked. There's no way I can allow that. I'm like, I can't do that. And my friend was like, no, your body will naturally wake up, and if you need to take the tape off, you will.
I don't know. It feels a bit weird, but if you actually think about it, you're otherwise sleeping like, catching so many germs in your mouth. Your breath's gonna stink. Like, you need to be breathing through your nose. So it's simple tweaks. It doesn't have to be a whole, I'm going to do an hour of yoga every day, half an hour in the morning, half an hour at night. No, just add small bits to your life. Add the mindfulness aspect to your life. When I was 14, 15, I was terrified of injections and needles. And my school, they offered like a mindfulness session a few times. And basically the nurse got me to visualize getting into my happy space. That was the first time I kind of really went into meditation. And I mean, I have loads of piercings now. Like, I'm happy with needles. Like, I can have injections, whatever. It really, really helped change my life. So it doesn't have to be what you think yoga is. It can just be small, like minor lifestyle changes that add more calm and more happiness and kindness into your life.
So then can I hold you accountable to then have some more, I don't want to say relatable content, but let's say for the wider audience, to like just say, stop and do this for 5 minutes before you train next, or that, and then see what effect that really has. Because I feel like generally people like yourself and other yoga instructors I know of, I'm like, I can see what you're doing. The stretches look amazing, but it doesn't appeal to me because I'm like, I don't feel like that's going to benefit me and what I'm trying to work towards. But there probably is some benefits in there. But and I'm not saying you need to work with all guys, but there might be some women that just possibly are like, nah, I can't do that. It's not me. And it's a case of, well, if you break it down, like, do this for 5 minutes and then watch the results, because everyone was in a very much like a results based environment right now.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to coaching, people want to see or want to hear why working with me is a great thing.
Yeah.
But you're not going to know until you give it a try, right? But I can only talk about what my clients have gone through. I can always keep sharing stuff on the podcast and what their wins are, and let that be something that someone hears and thinks, oh shit, maybe it's worth working with him.
Yeah.
With you, for instance, though, and all other yoga people, if you're listening, like, I suppose if you did share that in an environment, especially because content is so accessible and so like you gobble it. If you're on TikTok and you just keep scrolling through the same thing over and over again, but it's do this for 5 minutes before you train arms, do this while you're running and stuff like that, like it'd probably have a massive impact.
Yeah.
But that's just me saying it right now, whether or not people are doing it right now, and I'm just a fool for saying it, and it's there.
I think you've made a really good point, because I think I'm assuming when I post content that people already know what yoga is, and I'm trying to share it more from the spiritual benefits a lot of the time. But for people who are not so into it or they don't know about it, it's a great way to add it, to show that it's accessible for everyone in everyday situations. So thank you for the suggestion.
Let's see what happens. I know we've not been able to have a full session in, but I'm hoping when you are back in London after your whatever it is that you're doing, we can get you back in here and have another catch up and then talk about how things have been going for you, and hopefully see where the space in yoga is.
Yeah,
at that time.
you. And you should come to a class whenever you want.
What, in Mumbai?
Yeah, sure.
Less of that. I could possibly do London, we'll see. But
yeah.
I'm terrible at yoga, I'm telling you now.
Well, as I've told you, it doesn't matter.
Oh, it does in my head. If I can't do some of the things, I'm just like, this is just pointless.
But where do you start otherwise?
This is very true. I'll take you up on that. Where can everyone find you if they want to get in touch?
So I'm at Yoga with Kavi on Instagram. My website is yogawithkavi.com. But yeah, Instagram is the main platform.
Just drop you a DM and get in touch.
Yeah.
And do you do things virtually?
Yes, I do, and I'm starting an online library as well, so people can
gang. There we go.
Yeah, workshops in Abbots Langley and Hertfordshire, sometimes in London as well. And if you're in Mumbai, come through to a class.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure speaking to you, and I look forward to hearing how things get better and better in the yoga space.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving me the space to talk as well.
It's all good.